Hi learners, and welcome once again. As social studies students, we all have to understand that there is always a way or a governance system that operates in our local communities. And you need to understand how the system operates. The governance system that has to do with the people at a grassroots level, the people in our communities, the people in our developing towns, the people in the cities, all put together before we can have it at the state level or the national level. We need to understand how things operate. Now, in the third year's set of topics for basic schools in Ghana, the GS has put there a topic, government and society. The essence of that is to make students or teachers understand how our local people are ruled, to be great participants of the entire governance system. The central government, which consists of the various arms of government, the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. We can't have everybody operating at that level. And we can't have everybody going to parliament. We can't have everybody going to the courts at that level. So what happens is that there is a system that is created to link those in the local communities and local areas to the level that is the highest, which is the central government. How did this system come about? Even before we adopted the Western system where we had these practices, new governance system, democracy, and then having executive arms of government and this, our traditional system operated very well and had the people at heart. The chief was there and had a subject, and the traditional rulers were in control, or what we call the traditional authority. This time round, we are going to move into the local authority. Now, the local authority has been given the power by the central government. So authority and the power descend from there, or has been decentralized, if I may use that word. So decentralizing means that they are now trying to reduce the workload or the functions or the roles that have been placed at the central government level. And that is what we call the government at the national level. So in this lesson, as someone drew my attention, I would like to talk about how the governance system is carried out from at the central government, and then it comes to the regional level, because Ghana here we have 16 regions, and before we had 10 regions, and then how the powers or authorities or other directives are pushed to the local system. So to make the local people or the people at the grassroots level enjoy that form of participation, or feel that they are also part of the governance system. So government and society, that particular topic is to make us understand that local people shouldn't be isolated from the governance system, and therefore we need them to be part. And therefore, if any development will start, it has to begin from that level. So follow me closely, get your pens and your jotters. I'll take you to the board because I want to do this to help teachers who are also on this platform, who are going to teach this topic in class, and let the students know how these systems operate. So we will talk about 3 forms or 3 levels of government. In the political discourse or political communication or system, or maybe discussion, you could hear a word like tier. So that word just simply means level. So government at the national level, government at the regional level, and then government at the district level. We are supposed to focus mainly on the national level and the district level. But why do I bring the regional level in? So on the board, I will show you the role the regional level is playing, or government at the regional level is playing, and then we'll also look at the national level, and then we'll connect it. Then we'll come and look at the breakdown of our local government system or local authorities down there at the grassroots level. So follow me closely and let's get into this. All right, this is JCL Tutorials, and thanks for being here in the first place. Let's see what we have and get into the detail of it. All right, so thanks for staying with me. Now let's get into what we just introduced concerning the local government system. Now, before we get to that, I did mention already that the government is put into levels, or in terms of governance, things operate in levels. Now, we are looking at our own situation here in Ghana. When you take the system, we have the national level, so I'll indicate it. So we have the government at the national level, government at the regional level, and the government at the district level. So we'll focus this on this and then on this level. Okay, so what is happening here? The national level, the regional level, the district level. You put an arrow here to connect this to this. Put another arrow here to connect this level to this level. So what am I trying to achieve over here, or let you understand? When you pick government at the regional level, you realize that it is in the middle of the national level and the district level. What does this mean? The main purpose of its establishment is for it to serve as a link, or government word liaison. So it will liaise or link or connect the grassroots government, the local government system, the districts, to the national level. The national level, how do you describe it? Just use the arms of government, which I spoke about in one of my lessons or videos. And I believe you've watched that. If you've not, you can get that video and look at what we said concerning their principal functions, their composition, and other functions they perform. So you know that when you mention the executive arm of government, the legislative arm of government, and the judiciary, they all have their heads. So you say government at the national level comprises the central government. The central government is made up of the executive arm of government, the legislative arm of government, and the judicial arm of government. This is how you describe government at the national level. Then you pick them one by one. Then you talk about the executive is the arm of government responsible for this, and that. Then you mention their head. You do same for the legislature, and you do same for the judiciary. I will not focus too much on this because I've already talked about the arms of government. Now, because you can't have all the over 30 million people in Ghana being parliamentarians or being ministers or being justices in our courts, there is going to be sections of people who will be put in charge of our local authority. How does this operate? Because the districts are found in the 16 regions, the regions have been made in such a way that they also have an authority called the RCC, the Regional Coordinating Council, which is headed by the Regional Coordinating Director. And then that is where the regional minister is. So he meets with them and they collate all the issues or the problems coming from the various districts or the local government or the grassroots level, and then pick all of them, address them if they can, but if they are above their strength, they push them to the central government. That is how come it can get to the president of the land, who is our father, and he will take charge and make policies in that regard. Okay, so what role is the regional level playing? Is to serve as a link between the national level and the district level. Therefore, what is government at the district level? The confusing area that people have complained about is whether there is the D, small d, and the capital D. So, in our constitution, in the late 1980s, the Flight Lieutenant Jerry Rawlings, the late, actually proposed this system, and it has come to stay. So in the 1992 Constitution, it was put there. Chapter 20, you have the local government system, and then the district assemblies, you have them there. So district assemblies, that's the local government system. It's again the capital D and the capital A, district assemblies. Now, they look into the assemblies and they realize that all of them can have the same structure because they don't have the same level of development. We have villages coming together to form developing towns, and then we have the towns growing to become cities. Therefore, special names were given to them, and they were broken into levels or tiers. So the districts too have been broken down into tiers. So you have districts. They are all districts. That is small d. Okay? But when we put all together, they form the district assembly system or district assemblies. That's capital D and the capital A, district assemblies. So when we pick them, they are in 3 main levels. I will give another or put another spidergram on the board or sketch on the board to break them down. Okay, now what do we have here? The lowest tier or level is just the normal districts, and we'll see why they put them in that category. Then we have the municipal assemblies. So here the normal district assemblies, the municipal assemblies, and then the metropolis or the metropolitan assemblies. The metropolitan assemblies. These are the levels or the breakdown or the tiers of the district assemblies. So when you check that chapter 20 from article 240 or 240, 241, 242, it tells a lot about the composition of the membership, the people who work there, how it's supposed to be structured. And then it went on to give the breakdown also in what they should do as a unit or government at the local level. The government at the local level. So we will describe the government at the district level briefly. All right. So I believe you got the national level and the regional level. Let's go straight into or deeply into the district level. Okay, so when we talk about the administration of the local government, we look at the various district assemblies. So we are looking at the breakdown. Quickly, let's take the first tier or level. I spoke about the fact that because they don't have the same level of development in terms of infrastructure and then in terms of population, you need to look at which one has the lowest population or minimum population, and then which one has the highest minimum population. Okay, when we take the normal district, so the first one has to do with the normal districts. Okay, this one is headed by a district chief executive. So all districts are headed by a district chief executive. So when you go to maybe a place like Shai or Sudoku and those small areas, so you have these towns that do not have the infrastructure and they have a minimum population of 75 75,000. So if you have a minimum population of 75,000, yes, your administration will be classified as a normal district assembly. A normal district assembly. Okay, all right, because of the size of the area and then the infrastructure over there. So minimum population. Okay, I guess when I put it this way, you understand. So that is for a normal district assembly. Then, as the place grows, it gets to a level where the towns begin to develop. They now start having more of the facilities like market areas. Then we have more people coming into or migrating into the community, and they become permanent settlers over there. Jobs increasing. Then we have busy areas, and then more of the roads coming up, connecting the places to other cities. Then we see some form of advancement. So that level now is a municipal assembly. So normal district assembly. So district assembly. Then we have municipal assembly. Municipal assembly. So this one has a head known as a municipal chief executive. So as you are describing this in the exam, I've seen this in one of the past questions before, where the basic education certificate examination students were asked to describe the government at the district level. So you have to raise all of them, mention them, and then talk about them. So it's headed by the MC, Municipal Chief Executive. What's the minimum population over there? So it should have at least 95,000 people. It should have at least 95,000 people. So if it has this and more, then we can classify that. It has a limit though, because more means that there is a third one, the third tier or the third level. So when it gets to or close to that or crosses that, then it becomes the third tier, which is the metro. Yeah. So that's the Metropolitan Assembly. So that's the Metropolitan Assembly. So the Metropolitan Assembly is headed by the Metropolitan Chief Executive. Still MCE, but it is Metropolitan Chief Executive. This is Municipal Chief Executive. So Metropolitan Chief Executive, also known as the City Mayor, because these are cities. So these ones are cities. So somebody has a question, if the cities grow and we have more cities now merging because of how economic activities are growing in that area, they will begin to have megapolis. We begin to have megapolis. So from metropolis to megapolis. So the metros are the cities, and they are headed by city mayor. Because of how big they are, sometimes the administration becomes so difficult and complex. And there are things that you don't expect only the mayor or the chief executive, MC, to be doing, and he can't go around it because of the size of the city, the population, the number of people to attend to. So they break the cities into sub-metros. So when you hear sub-metros, they are under, it is here that we can get sub-metros. Well, when you come here, you can get the towns over here. So the towns here, the towns over here are broken down into zones. So we have zonal councils. So from the zonal councils, then you come to the area, or the zonal councils can also be called area councils because of the size. So zonal council. So you have metro. So the sub-metro could be areas that are just equal or equivalent to the size of a municipal assembly.
then there is a lower level, because we want to let even I don't want to say the common people, but I just want to say the local people, those who feel, oh, so aren't we part of this government? Why is it that the government has turned the deaf ear to our problems and we are not being attended to? Our roads have been bad. So you hear some of these complaints all the time, and we ask ourselves, is there an authority in the area? Do we have people who go there? Of course, people complain that if it comes to elections, yes, you see ballot papers in these remote areas or ballot boxes, and the machines will be taken there because politicians want the votes and they want to win the election. But when it comes to development, they find it difficult to locate or spot these remote areas and take the development to that area. So if this system is a perfect system as introduced by Rawlings, the late Rawlings, so if it is working properly, then we should see even districts, okay, having more structures or infrastructure or facilities, and then it will attract more people. So we could not just be having 75,000 minimum population, more people will add up, and we'll have more districts developing to become municipal assemblies, and more municipal assemblies developing to become metropolitan assemblies. So when you go to the cities, you have airports, seaports, or harbor, then you have roads, you have advanced education, the schools over there. So that should tell you. So Accra is one of them, Tema is one of them, Tamale is one of them. Then we have Kumasi. These are places where you can see the large population over there. What is their minimum population? So they will range from 250,000, a minimum of 250,000. If you have this, and then we look at the existing structures or facilities, then you can be upgraded to this level to become a metropolitan assembly or a metropoly. So this is how the structure is. So when you pick the local government, how do you describe government at the district level? Is the local government administration, or refers to the local government administration. It has three major tiers or areas or breakdown or levels, which are the district assemblies, the municipal assemblies, and the metropolitan assemblies. Then you pick the district assemblies. The district assemblies should have or has a minimum population of 75,000 people. Okay. Then you look at the head. It is headed by a district assembly. So when you pick the composition, they also work with people, of course, the heads. They can't do it alone. They also work with the chiefs in the areas. So in every municipal assembly, like Ashima Municipal Assembly, there are chiefs in the areas that the MCE will work with. You get to Sunyani, of course, the same thing is happening. In the Accra Metropole, the mayor is doing everything possible to get all the people heading the sub-metros to come together. Then the sub-metros will connect with the people in the zonal councils. Then the people in the zonal councils will connect with the people in the area council. And then the lowest is the unit committee. Don't forget this. It's a past question. The unit committee, that's the lowest level. So they get all these people, and then they work together with the town council, the zonal council, area council, the sub-metro heads, and then they have their meeting. In their meeting, they have somebody who presides over the meeting. Yes, the MC, the mayor or the DC will be there, but he does not preside. The structure makes it in such a way that the composition has somebody we call the presiding member. So when you check one of the articles under the chapter 20, it talks about the role of the presiding member. So he is acting just like how we have the Speaker of Parliament acting at the national level in the legislature. So that is the presiding member, very important key member. So he presides over district assembly meetings. Okay, anytime there is a meeting, he will be the one to preside. So this is how the structure works. What we social studies students need to understand is that we have a role to play. We need to make the work of these people very easy for them. They have a role to play. We'll look at that the functions or some of their roles or some of their projects or the things they do in the various districts. Then we see how are they able to execute it? Where do they get the money from, or the source of funds? So we look at the various sources, and then we see how this becomes clearer and clearer. I believe this lesson has become very clear to you, and now you will not have a challenge describing a normal district, a municipal assembly, and a metropolitan assembly, which is a city, to any other person who wants to know. Just know that there is a structure called the local government administration or system, which comprises all of these. So to end with, you hear MMDAs. So currently we should be having 260, yes, 260 in the country. The MMDAs, we have the first M stands for metropolitan, and then the second M stands for municipal, and then the DA stands for D, district, and then the A, assemblies. So MMDAs, metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies. So this is how we end the lesson on the government at the various levels. I'll meet you another time with another interesting lesson. Don't stop reading, keep revising, and see you again. Thank you for watching. Bye.